What up, y'all? Nature Girl 30 here, and it's that time again for Money in the Bank. Yep, Money in the Bank 2018 is finally here. But just to let you guys know, I am recording this on the 7th of June before the go home show of SmackDown Live and before the go home show of Raw, which is on the 11th and 12th. So, whatever matches are added from those actual shows, I will probably talk about them on my review, but I will not. I don't have any predictions for them because I'm only going by what's on WWE.com. So I'm going to talk about the matches that are already announced from WWE.com, and they did not announce a kickoff match yet, which they just might on the actual go home shows. But if they do, I will talk about it then. But at this moment, of course, I really don't have much to talk about. But anyway, guys, these are my predictions for Money in the Bank 2018 in no particular order on the card. So the first match that we are going to talk about on the card is the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, honestly, guys, I'm kind of fed up with this. I'm really getting tired of this feud. This feud really does need to die, and it needs to die a very quick death. I'm tired of it being a ball kicking contest. I know these guys can go, but we really haven't seen them go. I'm hoping that we'll see them go this time because we know that these guys are veterans in the ring. They're absolutely amazing in the ring, and I want to see a decent match out of them, but I really haven't seen it as of yet. But as of AJ Styles, he has held the championship for a very long time, but AJ Styles is indeed money. But Shinsuke Nakamura, his transformation into a heel has been very entertaining. And it would be great to actually see Shinsuke win. But as much as I would love to see Shinsuke win here, I don't know if it's going to go that far. Unless they decide to go to SummerSlam. But I really think that AJ Styles is going to retain here. So my vote actually is AJ Styles for the win. He's going to retain his championship over Shinsuke Nakamura. Now let's talk about the next match. The next match is going to be the Raw Women's Championship match with Ronda Rousey versus the Raw Women's Champion currently, Nia Jax. Now, honestly, I think this can go both ways, and it all depends on who wins here. It might determine who's going to win in the Money in the Bank women's ladder match. But it's way too far out to actually start making plans for WrestleMania, even though I think that early planning is going to be great. But we all know that Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte is going to be something that's going to be on the card for WrestleMania 35. It's more than likely going to be. But she would have to be champion. But it also all depends on who wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. But honestly, I see that Nia Jax is probably going to, well, it's something that's going to be a little iffy because who knows, we might have a cash in that night or we might have a cash in a little while later like Carmella. She pretty much waited towards the very end to cash in her briefcase. But it could be a chance that Alexa Bliss might win the Money in the Bank briefcase and take that belt off of Nia Jax at the last minute and nobody's a champion, which in my opinion, I think that'll be a better call. But at this point, if I did have to make something, I would probably say that Nia Jax is going to retain here with the possibility of a cash-in of Alexa Bliss. So that's pretty much how I'm seeing it at this point. But let's move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship match with Carmella versus Asuka. The one thing that I pray about this match is that Asuka does not lose clean to Carmella. I am hoping that Asuka actually does beat her, because anyone can beat Carmella. Let's be honest. Carmella is just as average in the ring as Alexa Bliss is, but at least Alexa Bliss is somewhat entertaining with her moves, and it just seems like that Carmella doesn't have any. Shoot, King Maxwell could beat her. So I'm hoping that she does not lose clean to Carmella. I'm hoping that the Iconic Duo somehow gets involved and it's somehow of a sleazy win. I'm hoping for that than her being beat clean by Asuka. It would make more sense for Asuka to take the belt, but I honestly do see them protecting Carmella a lot. So I'm really seeing that Carmella is going to retain here. So that's my vote, Carmella for the win, unfortunately. But let's move on to the match that nobody really cares about and nobody really wants to see, but is there because they're trying to make them a thing. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. They still keep trying to make this guy a thing. They still keep trying to make Roman Reigns a thing. Nothing against Roman Reigns. He's just booked badly, but Jinder Mahal should not be where he's at least in my opinion. But honestly, let's be real. Do you really think the big dog is going to get trumped over by the modern day Maharaja? No freaking way. I honestly see the big dog is going to dominate here. So honestly, there's really nothing much more to say about who wins because I really don't care much about this match. But if I had to name a winner, I would say it's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns for the win over the modern day Maharaja. Now let's go on to one of the tag team matches. The SmackDown tag team match with the Good Brothers versus the Bludgeon Brothers. I guess they're calling them the Good Brothers now. I'm not really sure why, but that's what they're calling them. And for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. They're making a really big deal over the Bludgeon Brothers, and honestly, I don't know why. I can't figure it out myself. So, as much as I would love for Gallows and Anderson to actually take the belts off the Bludgeon Brothers, it's way too early. They have been doing nothing but pushing them and making them monster heels as of late, even though I don't really see these guys as very intimidating. So honestly, they are going to make them the tag team champions probably on down to SummerSlam. So my vote actually goes to the Bludgeon Brothers for the win to actually beat Gallows and Anderson, which is kind of a shame because I would love to see some gold around those guys' waists. They've been underutilized since they came from New Japan, and I'm hoping that they actually find a way to use them for something. But right now, I'm not really seeing much. But anyway, let's move on to the next match, and it's a match that nobody really cares about, but it's something that we'll mention. Alright, I really don't want to talk about this match, but let's talk about it anyway. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. This was probably one of the worst feuds in WWE history. The most cringe-worthy segments, the arguments back and forth was just completely awkward. The sister segment, I shouldn't even mention that. This was one of the worst feuds ever. And they're still trying to make something out of it. I feel bad for Sami Zayn because he deserves better. Bobby Lashley has been mediocre since his debut, but he was only interesting for like maybe a few matches, and also with being in the Trump's corner for that, I guess that $1 billion head shave, whatever. But now, I don't know what they're doing with him, but they're not really doing him justice either. He was done a lot better in TNA as a heel, but they're not doing anything for him now for either men. I really don't think that this match is going to benefit either guy. I think this is just really, really bad for both of them. But it doesn't matter who wins. I think they're both losers in my opinion. This match is definitely going to be a lose-lose for both of these guys. But if I have to say if there's going to be a winner, I have to say Bobby Lashley because I really want this feud to die a very quick death. So Bobby Lashley for the win. Alright, let's move on to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Lana, Natalya, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, Ember Moon, Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. Now, the biggest rumor that I have heard so far is that we're going to have a woman from Raw to actually win the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then from the men's, well, I'll get into the men's a little bit later. But honestly, there's only 2 women from Raw that I see. And it would really make sense. As much as I would love Sasha to take it, I really want it to be Sasha so bad, but I gotta be realistic here. It's gonna be Alexa. It makes sense for it to be Alexa. She's been gunning after Nia Jax forever to get that title back. It would make sense for her to actually get the briefcase and go down and take the belt from Nia Jax that night, and honestly have neither Ronda Rousey or Nia Jax win. And I wanted to talk about that at first, but it would make more sense to talk about it here. So, honestly, guys, who I really think is going to win the ladder match will definitely be Alexa Bliss. And she's going to actually kind of double-cross a lot of people to get there. So, my vote is for Alexa Bliss to be Miss Money in the Bank. But she's definitely going to go after Nia Jax and take her belt back probably that night. But now, guys, let's talk about the men's Money in the Bank ladder match with Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Bobby Roode, Braun Strowman, The Miz, Rusev, Finn Balor, and one member of the New Day. Even though for some strange reason they're dragging this out to no end, we kind of have an idea on who's going to be there, and it's going to be Big E. We know Big E is going to be in the match. Come on. They're going to give him a tremendous push, and then they're going to probably either have the other two to be a tag team, or they're going to all go their separate ways and go their own singles route. But honestly, the guy who I think will probably win is Samoa Joe. I mean, as much as it would make sense for Braun Strowman to win, they're saying that a guy from SmackDown is actually going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's one of the rumors. It would make sense if it was Samoa Joe. As much as I would love Rusev to win, because I would love Lana to win the briefcase for her and Rusev to win the briefcase for him, and then they'll have, like, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. That would be amazing. I doubt that will happen. They have been squashing him as of late. But other than that, I'm gunning for Joe. Samoa Joe to be Mr. Money in the Bank. It would make sense for it to be Braun Strowman, but they're probably not going to do that. They're going to make it Samoa Joe. Now let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship match with Seth Rollins versus Elias. Elias has impressed me a lot. I mean, this guy can drum up the heel heat if he really could. But people love him and hate him. I love him because he is absolutely likable. He is amazing. He's an amazing artist. I'm still looking for that actual CD for Walk with Elias. I would buy it. But despite all that, actually talking about the match, I'm really impressed with Elias, and I would love for Elias to be the Intercontinental Champion, but it's freaking Seth Rollins. So even if Seth freaking Rollins actually beats him, Elias still gets a good... It's a still win-win for him because people will know his name. I think this is going to be one of the matches of the night. It's going to be a sleeper hit. So in my opinion, it's going to definitely be Seth Rollins, but I don't think that Elias will be squashed here. So my vote goes to Seth Rollins for the win, but this is going to be probably one of the best matches of the night. And I think Elias is going to definitely give it his all. And I will be impressed. I really would be. I'm looking forward to seeing this match. But let's move on to the feud that's just as bad as Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. Yep. Poor Daniel Bryan having to face Big Cass. I don't know why they had to pair Daniel Bryan up with Big Cass. It doesn't make any sense for this to happen. It just doesn't. Because Daniel Bryan needs to start moving up on the tier. He really does. But he's stuck with Big Cass. But anyway, Daniel Bryan won last time. He beat Big Cass clean. I honestly see that Big Cass is going to probably cheat here. And he's going to probably beat Daniel Bryan. I don't want that to happen. I want this feud to die just as quickly as Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. But they might extend this out a little bit more. So, honestly, I gotta go for, I hate to say it, Big Cass for the win. He's going to beat Daniel Bryan. And a lot of pissed off people is going to blow up their internet. Just be prepared for the reckoning, guys. It's going to be brutal. But other than that, guys, those are my predictions for Money in the Bank 2018. What are your predictions for this pay-per-view? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you would book it and what your predictions are. Stay tuned for my review as soon as the pay-per-view is over, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.